shout when you see the YouTube notification.
Good to go.
Good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to September. 2/3 of the year done. And we're going into the busy fall holiday season. So let's start things right off. The Fold 2. Samsung at the earlier event, they were very vague about it in a way that was surprising. They really didn't touch on the Fold 2. They obviously they wanted to focus on the Note 20, but they literally just showed a picture of the Fold 2, and that was it. But we had part 2, so to speak, this week, and we have all the specs. Ben, want to give us a rundown?
So, Fold 2 is pretty much it. Like, in terms of the spec sheet, it's the upgrade everyone expected. It's got a Snapdragon 865 Plus. It's got, obscene amounts of RAM and storage. It's a Samsung flagship. But the real upgrade comes with the displays, because now both of the displays take up the full canvas instead of having bigger bezels or cutouts. The front display is now a 6.2-inch 60 hertz display that's super skinny, but it takes up the entire cover of the phone. And the inside display is a 7.6-inch 120 hertz display that no longer has that gigantic cutout and just has a single punch hole.
The skinny front screen. Do you know what phone it reminds me of? Remember before the iPhone, LG had that very narrow phone with a touchscreen and like a basic OS. What was that phone called?
That rings a bell, but I can't remember.
Yeah, anyways, that's what it reminds me of. It was their attempt at doing a smartphone, a feature phone that competes with the iPhone, but I digress. But yeah, it looks so much better right off the bat. And yeah, it looks better. But to me, what's incredible is how much difference a year makes in terms of the hardware quality. They, of course, went to ultra-thin glass with the Galaxy Flip. But this seems like a very different phone, to the point where I think they should have released this one as the first foldable, because it's such a night and day difference.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this phone is the result of Samsung having. I think this phone wouldn't exist if this was the first one, because I feel like this phone is Samsung put something out into the world, saw the reactions, saw the feedback, and saw how people were using it, and then they took all of that in and they were able to make this. I think this was their original goal, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't think they could have done this off the bat. But it's just in every way, this is a physically impressive phone.
Yeah. I don't. I just don't know what they were thinking with those thick bezels, with that insane camera cutout on the inner display. It's just, yes, a lot of it is technology. I'm sure it took a year for the technology to mature, but at the same time, I mean, there must have been a design aesthetic choice that they were well aware of.
Yeah, I think it was just they needed to see public reaction to it, and now that they knew where they needed to focus, and the results just, it's impressive. That's the only word that comes to mind. It's such an impressive feat of phone design.
Mm-hmm. Would it have been more impressive if it was cheaper?
Yeah, so last week I was hoping, based on some of the leaks, that it would be a little bit cheaper than the original, and it's not. It's basically the same price. Probably almost entirely because it has the Snapdragon 865 Plus and is fully loaded with, millimeter wave 5G. So, that's just, that messes with every flagship phone this year, and I guess the Fold 2 had to be part of that too. Um, and that price does especially hurt just because of how much it lacks. Because Samsung, on the original Fold, it came with a case, it came with a pair of
But
Galaxy Buds, and then of course it came with the super good warranty. This one keeps the warranty, but in the box there's nothing special. It's literally, there's just a charger in there. There's no
yeah,
buds. There's no. I'm very surprised they didn't include a case, just because I know they are very, very hard pressed on trying to get the message out that, hey, this thing is not as fragile as you think it is, but it's still an expensive phone, and it would have been nice if you just threw that case that cost you $1 to make in the box.
yeah. I want to touch on the experience of all these foldable phones. So we know what's in the box with the Galaxy, with the Fold 2, and then we've already know the box contents of the Surface Duo, which is just a basic bumper and a charging cable and a charger. And it's, I don't know why buying these, you should be wined and dined buying this phone, buying a $2,000 or $1,500 phone. It should be an experience that you happily talk about to other people. Because
Yeah,
right now,
I don't disagree. I'm even in the briefings and I think in the actual event, I didn't actually watch the Unpacked Part 2, but I'm pretty sure that all of their messaging so far has just been, this is a luxury phone.
yes,
And yeah, in terms of what you get with it, it's really not. And the one big bonus that you get is this Z Premier service, which for one, it comes with a better warranty. So you get quick access to Samsung's representatives to, for anything that goes wrong. And then you get one very subsidized screen replacement. But it also comes with this thing that's called a founder's card. And that gets you access to like fancy
concierge service.
and it gets you access to like fancy restaurants and golf courses and all this stuff for basically for free, which is cool. But there's a pandemic happening and no one can use it. So
Thankfully, anyway.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it feels like they should have at least given you something with it, even if it was literally just a pair of earbuds.
Yeah.
That doesn't cost them a whole lot, and it goes a long way in making it feel like you're being rewarded for buying this very, very expensive phone. I still bought it.
So if I were to take a devil's argument, it would be that Samsung and Microsoft wants to make the case that this is just the phone, and you're buying just the phone. You can use it like any other phone, and it matches all the expectations of one. But again, like the people buying this phone today in 2020, they are not they are not the average consumer. I think it would go a great. It would be so helpful for these companies to have the people buying their stuff like it, like obviously like the phone, enjoy using the phone, but also have built an aura, an experience around it. And I think that's just a missed opportunity.
Especially since they executed that so well for the reviewers kit that they sent out to people.
Yes, in the case of the Duo,
The Surface Duo, yeah.
Yeah, they had they included headphones and a nice box that kind of reflected the style of the Duo.
Yeah, opening from the middle to reveal something in the it was a very nice package overall. Not saying that I'm jealous, but I am a little jealous of the people that got those. It was an exciting video to watch all 5 times
Yes,
that I watched
exciting.
unboxings of it.
Yes, exciting. Buying a $2,000 phone should be exciting, and it's exciting in how much you're paying for it in a negative sense. But then you get the phone, which is we shouldn't we shouldn't not that we should discount like the technical marvel achievement that's here, but again, I don't know. It always feels that you can treat people to more. So so on the Fold 2, so Ben, you had the briefings. We've all watched the videos of people that have had it. Does it? What is the Fold 2? What is Samsung's messaging for the Fold 2 in regards to whether this is a productivity device or a small tablet?
I definitely don't get the sense they're marketing it as a small tablet. I think the real pitch with this phone is more so just having that extra canvas available whenever you want it, in terms of having it for reading or playing games and stuff. Like there were a lot of clips of playing games,
Yeah, there were.
which is something I'm genuinely excited to do on this phone. I am like super excited to play Stadia games on a Galaxy Fold 2.
But that just sounds like a tablet, which I think is what Abner was arguing. Like it's a small tablet.
Let me rephrase tablet to: is this a content consumption device, or
Yeah.
does this make you as in owning this? Does it make you more productive in the way that the Duo is 100% going for that niche of this is a productivity device? What is Samsung going for here?
I think they're pushing it more towards content consumption, but I think they're not completely ignoring productivity because they do push a lot with the multitasking features, like that you can have three apps open at once. And I think there's a new feature this time where you can program it to, on this little slide out menu, to open those 3 specific apps at the same time. So they're not ignoring the productivity aspect, but I think they're mainly pushing it as, you can consume your content really fun on this.
Those screen features, 3 apps. It actually reminds me to a discussion last week about the Note 20 and the ads that I've been seeing about that phone being like people being super productive on it, and that phone obviously has DeX. So I don't know. I still don't know where to place the Note. The Fold 2 in terms of who is the audience for this. Yes, there's the primary audience of right now. It's of people who like cool technology, but at the same after that, once this becomes mass market, is this form factor going to change the way people work or use the device or whatever?
I think foldables in general have that possibility. I'm excited to see how it will do it for me, because so far the main ways I see myself using this phone are for checking and reading articles and playing games and just that kind of stuff that I do in my daily routine already. I'm interested to see how it's going to change my routine.
I think it's going to come down to app developers too. Like developers need to create apps that optimize for and maximize and do things that can only be done on foldables before they'll actually make sense for the average person rather than just the enthusiast.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, this is why Samsung and Microsoft are so well positioned in a way that maybe somebody like Motorola isn't right now. They make so many apps. Samsung has an app for everything, as does Microsoft. So they can leverage their first-party ecosystems. But I guess the what's curious is whether people use those first-party apps more than Google apps. And I think Microsoft has the better case on that in terms of what apps people are familiar with and experiences that they could bridge together.
Well, there is the one argument that Samsung and Microsoft have such a tight partnership, and I do think, I can't remember for sure, but I think at least a couple of Microsoft's apps are like optimized for that flex mode thing. If they're not, I could see that happening. I know some of Google's. I think Duo and YouTube are both optimized.
Yes.
I want to say Maps as well.
No, I don't think Maps is. But I don't think it would benefit from flex mode.
Yeah, and Flex mode on a Fold 2 would be very awkward. Flex mode in terms of the, let's say, Google Duo makes so much sense on the Galaxy Z Flip, but on the Fold 2, that'll be a bit curious.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to get it in hand and try it for myself.
Yeah, it's just so like, yes, some people might think that we've already had this primary discussion when the first round of foldables came out, but there's something to say about how the quality has so greatly improved in between this year and last year. And I think the saving grace of the technology getting better on a yearly basis will be how each refinement will basically be another another chance to review the phone and to bring it to more and more people. So I think that's why one should be optimistic about foldables.
I'm personally going to be intrigued to see if that rumored affordable foldable comes through.
Yeah, that is going to be genuinely interesting. Because realistically, the person who wins the foldable race is going to be whoever makes one for $1,000 or less.
Who is going to get the carrier partnership is the other big factor of that. What carrier is going to push the heck out of foldable? And if they do, would it be the hot dog style or the sandwich style? Wait, no, those are the same things.
Hot dog and hamburger? Yeah.
Hot dogs and hamburgers, sure, hamburgers. But yeah, because I think that something like the Z Flip and the Motorola Razr would be less disruptive.
I feel like they're serving two completely different cases, and I guess that's more the question what you're asking. Like, is it going to be how can I make my phone smaller in my pocket, or is it going to be how can I do more on my phone?
Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing right now. Is we have these two form factors that both serve a need, but they serve completely different needs. Like for me, the Z Flip does not really interest me in terms of buying it. Like I want to try it, but I don't want to buy it because I don't want to have to open up my phone every time I pull it out of my pocket. But the Fold really interests me because I love the idea of having my normal phone, but then having twice that much phone on demand.
Okay, definitely I see myself reading more on a foldable. I see myself managing email better, probably. Seeing more tweets. But I don't. Again, the timing. Again, like when we were talking about the Note 20 and the timing of things. If people were out in the world, they would want to be mobile productivity is like a big trend, but there's no opportunity to showcase that right now, and it's a bad year for all this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll find out more as this is the first foldable I get to use long term, so I'm very excited.
Yeah,
for it to come later in the month.
It's just going to be a packed 2 weeks of. We should be expecting to see Duo reviews and the launch next week, and the week after that we should get the Fold 2. So that should be a back-to-back week of foldables news. Fun.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. So the second big story is something that Ben here was tipped to, and it is Google's rumored Chromecast Android TV power successor, codenamed Sabrina for the device and Abby for the remote. So, how much do we think this is going to cost, Ben?
Well, originally there were rumors floating around that it would be $80 to $90, but according to at least Home Depot's internal system, it could be as low as $50. And then shortly after we published that, it was quickly discovered that Walmart and Target also have this product listed at $60. So It's definitely going to be a lot cheaper than we thought, and also considerably cheaper than the Chromecast Ultra, which is a significantly less capable device.
How
So
is this so cheap?
I am not at all. I think Google's not quite taking a loss, but selling. They're kind of taking the Amazon model of basically selling at cost, and I think they can do that partially just because this device is going to. I don't think most people have put together that it's going to have ads. It's just going to have very pretty ads because we've
Mhm.
seen that leaked interface a few times, and there's very much room for some sponsored content on that home screen, which personally I'm okay with. I don't really have much of an issue with the ads that are new on Android TV.
Mhm.
A lot of people disagree with me, um, but
Okay,
go ahead.
I guess my thing is I don't see this being able to run Android TV apps in the traditional sense of an app. Maybe this has something to do with the Google TV rebrand that we rumored earlier this year. But I don't know if if like this won't be an Android TV dongle or a device in the current sense that we have it today, in the current sense we have today, or whether this will be yes, it'll be powered by Android TV, but a lighter version of Android TV. I just I don't know. I just think there's something that this is going to be a more closer to a new OS/ form factor than what we have today. The power doesn't make sense to me, but the
I
price.
don't think it will be much of a difference because, in terms of what's under the hood on this, we've already seen some evidence of what processor it's going to have, and it's
Hmm.
basically going to be running the same package that the TiVo Stream 4K runs.
Hmm.
And I've had no performance issues with that device. I mean, it
Okay.
might, some apps might have a little issue here or there, but it's very rare. Um, and I can't say, like, in terms of just navigating Android TV on it, it doesn't really feel any different than the Shield TV.
That's
It
promising.
it's just once in a while an app might wig out compared to a more powerful device. And I'm also going to assume that if Google's making an entire new interface just for this, and it's their big Google TV thing, I've got to imagine they're going to have it at least decently optimized for this specific
Definitely.
hardware.
Decently optimized, but will it be optimized for everything? Like, will I don't see this running most Android TV apps. I I think they have them uh if they're moving towards a more pixely experience with this Google TV rebrand. I'm not ruling out the possibility that there's a whole new paradigm of how to use a living room smart TV OS.
I think it's possible, but just based on the leaks we've seen, like we've seen the home screen where it has, the suggested content for you, and then we see where it has live tabs and stuff like that. There's
Hmm.
a tab that says apps.
Yeah.
Depending on how they've got this set up, this could basically just be a fancy launcher for Android TV,
Hmm.
and Google developers don't have to do a thing to it, except maybe if Google partners with them for that suggested content
Yeah.
screen. I I don't see them going as deep as undoing all of the progress they've done with since Android Oreo when they redid Android TV. I can't see
Hmm.
them just throwing that all out and saying, "Hey, developers, you need to come work on this stuff again." I don't
Yeah.
see that happening.
But at
So
the same time, the sense of the word developer could just be streaming providers. Like what I don't know. I feel like they have a really good thing in how their implementation of smart displays and the Nest Hub Max. And it really wouldn't be shocking to me if the approach they end up going for is much more of a this is purely for content. And I know there aren't that too many Android TV apps, like in the sense of like utilities and tools, and that most of them is just for streaming content. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm I'm very suspicious at this price point of what they're going to do.
I mean,
guess
what
we'll
other
wait. Go ahead, Kyle.
what other apps are you expecting your Android TV to run?
Yeah, like I was saying, it's mostly there's mostly just content apps, but like the model of a Nest Hub, when you're watching something, you're having assistant pull it instead of like there being a dedicated experience created by, I don't know, HBO or whatever.
But most of that's powered by the Cast platform, which presumably would all still be in place.
Yeah.
About it, but I don't know. I just can't think of an Android TV app that people use that wouldn't be powered or able to run on this hardware, other than maybe actual literal games. But if you're expecting to run actual literal games not through Stadia, then you should have bought a Shield TV in the first place.
Oh, definitely. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I think of this more as Google Cast Plus versus the new Android TV. That's my basic sentiment on what I'm curious that Google is doing.
I think that'd be interesting, but just given what we've seen on the interface so far, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's so much more. It's much closer to Android TV, and it's so much more customized. And
which I think it looks nice. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I this is another thing. I can't wait to get my hands on this.
I think I get what you're saying now. You're wondering. The question is whether it's going to be an Android TV, or if it's going to feel like an Android TV, or if it's going to feel like a Chromecast with a remote.
Yeah, which is the thing that everybody has wanted them to do for ages. Just add a remote to Chromecast. But the way that Google seems to be doing this is, let's get Android TV here, or Google TV, or what eventually that becomes.
Which is smart, in my opinion, because a Chromecast with a remote sounds like an awful idea, to be honest. Just a straight Chromecast with the remote, that sounds like a nightmare.
The second you put a launcher, why are you rethinking the wheel when you already have a basis with Android TV?
Yeah.
So yeah, $59 with a remote. This is going to be such a hit product at that price point.
Hopefully.
It's definitely much more than what I thought it was going to be, like at around 99. And I guess they do want to take a chunk of the Fire TV model. If we had in-person Black Fridays, which most stores fortunately are not going to have this year on principle, this would be a basket at the end of a basket full of these, whatever Sabrina ends up being. It's like a stocking stuffer almost.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it offers 4K.
Yeah, I mean they're going into it with they're not really going into it with any technical advantages over the Roku or the Fire TV, because they're all gonna have 4K. They're all gonna be, cheap HDMI dongles. I think the only advantages they really get is that these are gonna, for one thing, it's gonna tie into Nest really nicely, and it's also gonna tie into YouTube TV really nicely.
And Stadia.
And Stadia. Yeah, that is, because that's one thing that we know Roku's never gonna. I don't think Roku's capable of that.
No.
I think the biggest, and also the programmable buttons is something that's nice. But I think one thing also that they should push is just that, yes, it's going to have sponsored content, but it's not going to be like Fire TV and Roku.
Yeah.
It's ugly and disgusting.
So who do you think this is for?
It's for the same market. It's for that same market. They're just going into that same market.
Who doesn't already have one, though, is my question. My first question. And my second question would be, if you already have an Android TV, either you have it as a Shield or you have it built into your TV. I'm curious what market Google's going after.
So if you have it built into your TV, every Android TV I have ever tried gets very slow, very quickly. And none of these companies are good at updating them. So that's already a huge market, is people who want a regularly updated, well-supported Android TV device. But then there's also the people who have, all these TVs that TCL sells with Roku built in. Yeah, they work. There's a lot of people who don't really like Roku though.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole market for that too. I think it's really just going to depend on how Google positions it and how broadly they advertise it.
Yeah,
Because if they just put it in this,
be?
if they just put it up on their store and Best Buy and all this stuff, and they're not running commercials and running all this stuff, it's not really going to do much.
Plus, there's apps that aren't on other platforms yet. Like I believe HBO Max and Peacock both aren't on anything but Google platforms yet, right?
Yeah, no, they are not. And honestly, for that reason, I wish they would just launch this thing today. They would actually get people to buy this thing just because it has HBO Max and Peacock that have no signs of going to Fire TV or Roku anytime soon.
Crazy.
They'll always have those Android TV apps. I think going into this device, there were rumors of Google trying to make sure these third parties integrate with the new system. So they'll always have Android TV apps as a fallback, but it'll be curious to see how much buy-in Google ends up getting on this Google TV. So I guess we're assuming this comes in the fall as to joining the rest of Google's lineup.
Apparently the target internal listing said September 30th. So
September 30th, which along with the Pixel stuff it seems like we're having an earlier fall than usual. So maybe we'll see something much sooner than later.
So long 10/4, 10/9. Welcome 9/30.
9/30. Cutting it. They're definitely cutting it. So speaking of Stadia, there are a number of developments on that front. Kyle, do you want to start us off with what you found in the latest version of the Stadia app?
Yeah, so the Stadia version 2.32 came out early or over the weekend, and we were able to dig through, and we found what looks like they're putting the finishing touches on messaging, which is something that's, I don't want to say critical, but important and has been missing from Stadia. Just the ability to send somebody a message and say, hey, you want to party up and go, I don't know, fight. Man, my Destiny skills are not coming to helping. Let's go do a raid or something. Let's play Crucible. You don't have a way to just to express your intent when you're playing something other than inviting them to a party. So that's awkward. But they're adding messaging. There's an onboarding process. My prediction, probably Tuesday. Just loose. Don't have anything to base that on, but that's my prediction. And to go with that, there's also notifications, because obviously you need notifications for messaging, but they're also adding stuff like notified when new pro games show up, get notifications on your phone when somebody sends you an invite, a message, a friend request, a party invite, whatever. They're really trying to keep Stadia in people's minds. But of course, all of it's optional. You can turn it all off or turn none of it on to begin with, and that's fine. But the thing that most people are going to be intrigued about is the fact that Uplay Plus showed up in the Stadia store code. And so people are starting to think that we might get an announcement of Uplay Plus a week from today, I believe, because that's when the next Ubisoft Forward event is. I want to say it's on the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So next Thursday, stay tuned. Maybe we'll be seeing Uplay Plus, which is Ubisoft's Netflix of games, except it's more like Peacock for games because it's only Ubisoft stuff.
That's a nice one. Yeah. So it's again, Stadia. Time flies. They're very much hitting that 1 year, getting ready to hit that 1 year mark in weeks at this point. So they
2 months.
2 months. So they definitely have a lot of, if they could complete the feature side of Stadia as a platform, that would be a great way to mark the progress in a year.
If they could actually have everything that they showed us last March by this coming November, that would be great.
That would be a great success as a video game reference. So yeah, gaming wise, two big titles. Um, Ben, you're very excited by Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's
Uh,
Avengers.
yeah. Square Enix started teasing that game about a year and a half ago, and I was very much looking forward to it. And then it got delayed to September, but it is out in early access as of Tuesday, and it will be out for everyone tomorrow. And it's been a blast so far. I started playing it Tuesday night, going through the campaign mode, and it's got a. I've been loving the story mode. I won't put any spoilers out there, but it's very interesting. It kind of grabs you in right away, and the gameplay is pretty good. Like I'm not. You can tell that it's hard to in one game get all of these characters that are so different to play well. Like some of them feel very nice in the game. Like I in the intro, I enjoyed playing as Thor a lot, and I enjoy playing as Kamala Khan. But Hulk feels pretty clunky to me. So it's a lot of fun. I can't wait to continue playing through it, and it's been really nice playing it on Stadia, where I have not had to deal with the downloads. Because when you get this game on other platforms, you have to download like a 20 gig patch before you can start playing it.
Yeah,
So-
wasn't PlayStation like completely unable to download for some folks too for like a whole day almost?
I did not hear of that, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's just it was so nice. I put in, I got a reviewer's code from Square Enix to try it out. I put in my code, opened it up, and I was playing within a few minutes. And it's just I will always love that.
So I do want to touch on Kyle's review, Bomberman, but before that, and maybe this is a class is over, but why don't you think Google has hit that point harder? They have done ads for Stadia, but why haven't they done the whole play instantly thing? They really haven't pushed that yet, and it's
I
kind of
don't know,
surprising.
but they need to, because that is the best thing about the instant play and not worrying about storage space. Like I play Ark Survival on my gaming PC with my wife and a couple of our friends, and I play a few games on Steam with a couple more of my friends, and all of our friends have issues with storage space on their computer. They're constantly running out, having to delete stuff, having to get new SSDs and stuff, and it's such a pain. Like I had to upgrade my wife's computer because Ark took up her entire hard drive. But a couple of my friends wanted to play Orcs with me on Stadia. They signed up, they were playing, and they said the best thing is they have not had to worry about their storage at all.
Yeah, why? Do you think they were speaking about earlier topic? Do you think they're waiting for all the features before they do a big push, or I don't know? They could have. It seems like they could have done that any time since November.
Maybe they're just waiting for the right game.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
Well, yeah. What's the install space on Cyberpunk?
I heard it's not as bad as you would expect it to be, but it's still big. Let's see, confirmed to be less than 200 gigabytes, which is still huge.
Yeah, that's an entire SSD.
Yeah,
Like, my wife's computer had a 200 gig SSD in it. She would not even be able to download that game because it would be her entire computer.
yeah, that's a bit much. It's a bit much, like versus click, play, done. Not even like streaming download, like, oh, okay, I've got enough downloaded that I can start to play and hope that the background download is as fast as the foreground download. No, just click, play, done.
And that's not even like obviously we have like consoles especially have the ability to preload the game. Like you can download it a day ahead of time. That's still, you have to go a day ahead of time and think, I want to download this so I can play it tomorrow night. That's so frustrating.
Even if you have the disc, you still have to download something, or sit there for an hour or more as it installs the disc onto the hard drive.
Yeah, like I get people, like a lot of people have the the gripe with Stadia and xCloud and all these services that, oh, I can't play my games if my internet's out. Most games you'd have to download stuff anyway. You'd have to stream stuff anyway. At least with this, you're getting such a benefit to playing these games. If you never have to worry about an update, you never have to worry about downloading stuff or storage space. I can't speak to that point enough. It's just, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Bomberman is somewhat of an exclusive. It's first on Stadia, I believe, correct?
Yeah, or at least people are having such a trouble with it because there's Super Bomberman R, which came out for every other console a couple of years ago, and now there's Super Bomberman R Online, which is the first on Stadia thing. But my argument is, and that the crux of my review is that it should not be a Stadia exclusive. I love Stadia, but I cannot tell you how hard it is to get 64 real people into one match-made game.
Real people.
Yeah, I opened up one match and got 7 people.
Yeah,
I don't think the bots weren't turned on, so it was just 7 people in the match.
Oh, that's weird. How did you do that?
I don't know.
Because I have never seen that.
Maybe it just didn't show. Maybe I just didn't show them. I got knocked out pretty quickly.
Yeah, because it's all broken out into different arenas.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
on that note, isn't Destiny getting crossplay next year?
Yes.
Totally different.
Now, the problem is that there's a flip side to that. Like, there will come a day where Stadia will be big enough that it would make more sense to close the walls again. Because having everybody play on Stadia, there are no cheaters. It's physically impossible without a hardware mod to your controller or something. And even that, I'm still not sure how effective that would be. Everything is all... You can't tamper with the network. You can't lag. You can lag on your client side, but that doesn't affect your gameplay. Or it doesn't affect other people's gameplay. It only affects you. Your stream might lag, your controls might lag, but everybody else is still okay. So I don't know. It's in such a tricky place. But for right now, and especially for niche games like Super Bomberman R Online, which are fun, and you should play it this weekend, that those kind of niche games have no business being Stadia exclusive, especially without crossplay in the future.
Yeah, so, I don't disagree.
That said, again, play Super Bomberman R Online. If you have Stadia Pro, or if you don't and you just sign up for the spend the $10 and get yourself a month if you already used your free trial, it's worth playing. It's a fun game. I like it. But there's bots, and there's going to be more bots if you don't play this weekend. That's all I can say.
That's true.
There's a point where I guess this is a worst case scenario for Google maybe, but there's a not too distant future where if they want to boost adoption all the way up, they make it free with ads like YouTube.
Oh my God, how would that even work? Like, just put ads in matchmaking screens?
Sure.
Or something?
Yeah, actually, that would probably work. For games like Bomberman, I could see that actually.
Yeah,
especially because
totally works.
Bomberman's like a $10 game anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know, and like those matchmaking games, that kind of stuff. But I don't know if it's anything with a campaign would not work too well. It's actually interesting if you take that hypothetical down all the way. It would almost shape what kind of games that they have for Stadia if it's an ad-supported model, where you would need very short rounds, or you would need the concept of rounds in the first place, very short chapters. That would be a way.
Here's a crazy thing. The ads would have to be served, or the ads could be served by the Stadia server than like they're part of your stream. That way, folks who have like pie holes or whatever, they wouldn't be able to block it.
Yeah.
That's sorry, just random interjected thought.
No, that's yeah.
Or worse, in-game ads, in-universe ads, like the billboards you see are for Coca-Cola.
Oh,
I'm okay with that.
It'd be hysterical. It'd be like Ready Player One.
It would be like Ready Player One, and if anybody watched the last season of Silicon Valley, there's a small thread about that. But yeah, just again, like the question is, okay, so can Stadia become reach a console level of success based in terms of like a traditional console?
Yes, and Microsoft is helping to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
By making Game Pass the way that it is, I think there's potential for people to realize that it works through Game Pass, through a name that they trust, and then realize, oh wait, Stadia is better, or have an and situation, like I have Game Pass and Stadia, because it's okay to have both. I'm probably going to have both.
Mm-hmm. There's there's definitely no tribalism.
No,
and they definitely appeal to different people too, because
yeah,
Stadia, because Stadia is, you have the pro subscription if you want it, you pay for the games you want, you redeem the games you want, and none of that ever goes away. But on Game Pass, it's a rotating library. So if
is it rotating?
It is rotating.
I hadn't heard.
Games can fall out of it, and then you can't play them anymore.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
That's okay. So that is like, that genuinely sounds awful to me. Like I would assume like Microsoft's first party stuff would never rotate out. But like, let's say you fall in love with a game on Game Pass and it rotates out. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, do I buy the game?
If you buy it, I don't think you can play it on xCloud anymore. I think you have to have an Xbox.
Yeah, because you have to, or you could still play it on your phone by way of your Xbox, but yeah, you would have to have an Xbox. Wow, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even know about the. I mean, it makes sense, but I never thought about it.
I haven't really looked into it that hard, but I just know I've seen a lot of people mention that.
Because there's no guarantees. Where at least with Stadia, you're purchasing or claiming, and it's yours.
Yeah, games leave X. Yeah, games leave it. No, xCloud is very much the Netflix for games, because it is, you're streaming games, but at the end of 1 month they might go away, which that really sucks. And that is the thing I love about Stadia so far, is that I have 40 games in my library, because I was just counting that too. And it's not like I play all of them. Like, a lot of them I haven't touched, but I have them. I didn't pay for them. They're not going anywhere because I'm still paying for it. And the games I do pay for, I do play. I absolutely adore.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I would say this was probably a busier Stadia week than most. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's our show for the week. Thank you everyone for joining us. We record. We're trying to record every Thursday at around 1 p.m. East 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So hope you join us again for that. You can find us on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and of course you can listen on 9to5google.com. Thank you all for listening, and thank you to Ben and Kyle for joining.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.